How's everyone doing today? We are on episode 49, Thursday. Back at it. We're on every week, every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast. Hope everyone's having a blessed week, a great week. Hope all is well. For those who are probably going through it, be very patient. As I always mention on our daily post, patience is a virtue and faith is the substance. We must keep going. We have to keep going. We can't stop. Don't give up. Keep pushing. Keep pushing through because your breakthrough is close. You just have to focus on it. Most of us tend to give up when we continue to try over and over and over to overcome each obstacle. And we have to learn that once we break through one, there's going to be 5 others ahead of us. And we never know when it's going to come up to us, to face us, to try and stop us. We just have to keep going. So I appreciate everyone who joins us on a weekly basis. Every Thursday, I appreciate everyone who shares our content. I appreciate everyone who commenting in the chat. Those who have joined the live to give their testimonies. It's great because, again, this platform is made of misery, experience, just in general. Whatever you go through in life, we're all going to go through it eventually, or we all have gone through it. And it's good to share these stories, right? Because you can help the next person. You'll be surprised that your story will help the next person. You know, there might be someone listening that needs to hear that good message you have, that story, that experience, whether it's traumatic, the good and the bad, right? We got to put on the platform the good and the bad. Okay, let me go ahead and put Pastor Carlos on while we give it a few minutes for people to join us. What's going on, big bro? What's up, man?
What's good, little bro? What's good?
All right, good to see you, bro. Good to see you.
Likewise, man. Likewise. And we're good on Facebook and YouTube too. So,
okay,
welcome to everybody who's on Facebook and YouTube with us tonight as well. It's a blessing to have everybody from all 3 platforms, for real.
That's right. That's right. Really appreciate everyone. I was just mentioning right before, all who shares our content, who watches us on all 3 platforms. Really appreciate the time that you take to join. For those who takes the time to join the live and put out their testimony, to put their story. It's been major. It's made a major impact. A lot of people do appreciate it. We've been receiving messages in the DM, even a phone call that I received last week, unexpectedly, regarding our live, and that it's a major thing that we're doing. We know why we're doing this. It's obviously our purpose. I've already discovered my purpose, but the fact that we're able to hear it from someone else, it just gives us that extra push, that motivation, like, okay, and just confirmation of what we're doing, right? The whole point of what we're doing is to help the next person, is to help you get through, to help you develop, to help you grow, to help you shift into the next version, the best version of you. I think we can agree, right, big bro? Like that's really the purpose here, and so
Most
much more.
definitely. Most definitely, it's just really to show, we've talked about it for a number of different weeks. It's really trying to get people to realize, like, yo, there's other people going through the stuff you're going through. This is what, this is what it's about. The experiences, not only that we've shared, but that a lot of different people have shared who have come on to go and give testimony, right? We've seen how that's like impacted people week after week. You know what I'm saying? So it's the experiences, and of course, coupling that with the most important thing, which is building that relationship with Christ, because He's got things to say. Because a lot of people don't have any clue at all about what God says about their situation, about how the relationship with Christ can change things. The restoration of the image. A lot of this is all about restoration of who you are and who you're meant to be. so you can walk in that power. And a lot of people are not even, never don't have a clue because they've never had an opportunity to hear about it. So that's really what it's about. You hit the nail on the head. That's really, really what it's about. So, you guys just thank you because for the last, I think we're on episode 49. We're about to hit week 50. Um, we're talking about almost 50 weeks now of hearing people's lives changing and stuff like that. So, it's time for us to go. We got to go full force.
That's right, man. I can't believe it. We're 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks away
Yeah, 3 weeks
from
away
being
from being an entire year.
an entire year. 12/12/21. I will never forget that date. Um, for those who don't know, we started our platform uh, December 12th of 2021. But if you look at the pattern, there's 12/12/21. I mean, and the way we started, we've mentioned it briefly a few times throughout the episodes that we've had. It's like we never really prepped for this. We had a conversation. We had a few conversations about what it is that we wanted to do, and just decided to start. Right. I was one to always. I tend to prepare for things to then jump into it, and of course, we shouldn't jump at first, right? But what we did with this platform was, you know what? Um, this is the idea, and I feel like this is what the people need. I feel like we should start putting out messages. We are living in rough, interesting times. I'm sure this is going to help a lot of people out. Let's just do it. And as soon as we started getting feedback because we all know that the content that's on social media, Instagram, Facebook, what we see on YouTube, usually you'll come across violence, comedy, uh, then you do have motivational, inspirational videos. But I feel like the topics that we discuss on our platform is really what we need more of, right? And what I'm loving about it is that slowly it's out now. It's starting to come out. Um, it's okay to express yourself. It's okay to discuss emotions. It's okay to focus on mental health. We see Charlemagne the God doing it, which is major. He's doing it on the radio, and he does have his own platform where he's discussing mental health, emotional health, right? Um, and the sad thing is, and I'm noticing as well, I'm noticing that it's taking tragic events that's actually leading for mental health to be discussed, right? Is being forced now. Like we see what happened to Takeoff, right? Rest in peace. Just a few days ago, rest in peace to Takeoff. He was part of the Migos, um, shot dead around 2:30 a.m. in the morning. He was in a bowling alley, right, with I believe with Offset, group of friends. But the whole point is now he's gone, and now what people are starting to spread more. Even people in the industry, which is major. I've been watching videos for a few days now, and they're trying to stop um, rap lyrics to include violence in rap lyrics, guns, drugs, right? And there's multiple countries taking action on this now to the point where they're actually fining, they're placing fine on artists, right? There's penalties now. So if you mentioned like in the Dominican Republic, I think they're implementing this law where if you mention um, drugs specifically in DR, you'll be fined. I'm not sure if they finalized it yet, but it's in discussion, and I wouldn't be surprised. Now, how is that going to play out when it comes to international artists? Not sure, because remember, radio is huge, right? It's international, especially now with social media as well. It's like they're going to pick out individually. Okay, this artist is from the Dominican Republic, but how are they going to do it with an artist from Puerto Rico, from Trinidad, from Europe, etc.? So slowly, there's a shift happening. How long is it going to last? I'm hoping that it's only going to it's only going to be up from here. And for a lot of these young viewers, fans, whatever you want to call them, to start realizing and waking up and just realizing what's happening through music, what's happening in life in general, what's happening through social media, to change the way that they think, the way that they view things, right? Because we all know we all have different perspectives, and there's different reasons why we have these different perspectives. That can be because of personal experience. That can be because of the music that we listen to. That can be because of the TV shows that we're watching, the movies that we're watching. That can be because of the people that we interact with on a corner, at your job, in your school, right? And I think that's major, man. And it's really causing a lot of deaths. And I feel like the more we talk about it, the more it's going to spread the awareness, the more it's going to wake people up, the more people can realize. So I think it's major what's happening in and out of the industry now. So just earlier today, I saw a video of an ex music executive producer who worked closely with multiple artists. And I'm talking about Gucci Mane, Waka Flocka, the Migos, Cardi B. It was X amount of people. And you know, he's no longer doing that. He didn't state what he's doing now, but he was saying it's time to make a change. It's time for these artists to use their platform to promote mental health, to promote you know, feeling good, not promoting the things that are actually causing damage to the people who are coming up, to the people who are growing, to the people who are looking up to these artists. Because that's where the problem is. That's where the problem is. And as we mentioned before, Big Bro, I know that we have to set up an episode specifically for music and the influence of music, right? And what has been happening in the past, what's happening today. We see it on the news. We see it all through social media, especially with the reposts. Like, I think it's sad the fact that people are posting these moments, because we do know that these artists, right? Again, rest in peace, because Takeoff ain't the only one. PNB Rock was another one from PA,
Recently, yeah.
And there's been a few others, but the fact that these videos are going up on social media, they do have families, right? Mothers, grandmothers, children, and they have to come across these videos. And I feel like this should be kept private. But also, it sucks in one way, but in another, it helps, because whenever it involves an investigation, it does help to catch the person who committed the criminal act, right? In most cases. So it's pretty iffy when it comes to that. But rest in peace, man. Rest in peace to all those artists. And I really hope that this is an eye opener for people who are in the streets, involved in the streets. If you have the chance to make it different, you know, like, please do. It's never too late to turn back. It's never too late to stop what you're doing. It's never too late to change your life. It's never too late to make it different for you and others around you, because we all know that one way or another, the way you behave is not only going to affect you, but it is going to affect the next person. And again, we've discussed this multiple times throughout the episodes, how there are people that look up to us. And believe it or not, it's time to make a change. It's time to make a change. It's never too late. Never too late. But yeah, man, truly sad what happened to Takeoff, bro.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. It's sad, but you know, I hate for situations like this to be those points where you need to start talking, where you need to like have that be like the jump off point to begin a discussion and everything like that, right? But bro, at the end of the day, this is where we talk about, like, where the word talks about, you know, how if you don't have that knowledge, you perish, right? Which again, what we talked about earlier, what's the reason for the platform? Why are we doing what we're doing with the platform and everything like that? And then we have a big portion of that being the biblical reason, right? And like we've talked about for 49 weeks now, we've mentioned what the word has to say about a lot of different things, a lot of different topics that we've talked about. And most people that have come on here have been like, man, I didn't know that. And it's like you know, it's not knowledge. It wasn't knowledge. It was never taught to them. They had no idea. They had no clue. And something that I'm going to read to y'all real quick. It's a very quick line, a biblical passage, very, very quick, but it's something that holds true when you think about it. And it's something, bro, that you and me, you know, I remember when you were younger, I would essentially, without using this Bible verse, because I didn't know the word like that, I was telling you this, but I didn't know that it was a biblical principle. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is that we both talked to many people about this same thing, and it's something that it's meant to protect people when they don't listen. But we go back to, like, what does the word do? The word gives you guidance. The word gives you protection. The word shows you what you should be doing, right, for your good. And that verse that I'm going to read you guys, it's Proverbs 13:20, which says, the one who walks with the wise will become wise, but a companion of fools will suffer harm. In other versions, it said the companion of fools, or the person that hangs out with the fools, you know, it'll lead to their destruction. You know what I'm saying? It'll lead to their destruction. Other versions mention it that way. So this version says harm. Others go to the furthest point, which is saying, like, it's destruction. It's what's going to destroy you, right? And this is so important because a lot of times people don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. And this happens in all facets of life, right? When you have decided, and first of all, right off the bat, you can tell when there are people who are not up to any kind of good. And you already know that there's something in you, for the most part, not everybody, but for the most part, you'll feel something in you to be able to say, like, yo, I really need to step away. It's because there's that biblical principle. You know, the wise, you walk with the wise, you become wise. You chill with the fools, harm is going to come to you. Destruction is going to come to you. So it's sad to say it, but I remember when I would, you know, when we would talk, when you were younger, it would be a thing of like, bro, what are you doing? And it even got to the point, I remember you even had those same people, you would have some of them that were wise enough to know, like, you don't need to be here. Like, why are you here? You know what I'm saying? Which I'm sure was an eye opener. So that's a thing of, like, even they knew without knowing the biblical principle of, like, yo, you don't need to be with the ones who are doing foolish things. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not going to end well for you no matter what. And unfortunately, again, you know, rest in peace to Migos, to take off from Migos, rest in peace to a number of different people who have passed. But bro, let's not even talk about, this is not even a thing of artists. This is a thing just in general. We see our people passing away in droves over the same exact thing, because they continue to hang with the same people, and it's like there's not anything good there. And by continuing to be with the fools, you're continuing to do foolish things. Or even if you're not doing foolish things, just the fact that you're there by association, it's going to lead to your harm. It's going to lead to your destruction. That's not ironing, sharpening iron. You know what I'm saying? There's not anything that's going to be good that's going to come out of it. You know, it's just a biblical principle overall. And it's not just something that when you're talking about what we see in our neighborhoods, that's the only issue. I mean, you could go up the ladder when you let's say if you decide to educate yourself, or you decide to get out and you decide to try and do better with work, or whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether it's education, whether it's a better job, whether it's getting out the neighborhood, whether it's doing this, whether it's doing that, if it's something that's better than what you were doing before, there are people that make the mistake of still being where they were at.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool, and it doesn't do them any good. But if you go a step further, I was just having a conversation with somebody about this week, where it was like, even if, let's say you go to school, right? If you go to school, it's not saying that the people that are in the school are foolish, but this goes back to walking with the wise so that you can become wise. There are people that think like, oh, me going to school, that's going to do everything. I'm going to get everything, blah, 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 blah. All I got to do is school. So it's just school and party and school and party and school and party. And because of that, they don't want to go seek internships, right? Well, the interesting thing about that is that when you go seek internships, right, you get experience. And the experience that you get is you get to see the people who have made it, right? You get to pick up on their wisdom. You get to pick up on what makes them successful so that when you get out, you have something that sets you apart. That's why mentorship is so important, right? That's why mentorship is extremely important because you don't want to keep hanging out with the people that are at your level. You don't want to continue with the school and the party, school and party, and school and party, or I'm going to the school and then I'm hanging out with my boys from the hood, or I'm doing the job and then I'm back with my people from the. No, if you want to level up, you can't level up by doing the same old.
You just gave me flashbacks.
You know what I'm saying? You can't level up by doing the same old thing. I even think about it from like, old school, like video game perspectives. If you play games where you level up, right? There gets to be a point in which like those enemies get weaker because you've leveled up. And it's like to continue leveling up, you gotta beat stronger stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta be more difficult enemies. Like if you try to stay with the ones that are the easiest, you'll level up, but it'll take you forever. You know what I'm saying? Like like you could have done something for way less time, but you waste your time. You know what I'm saying? Staying down at the bottom. It's the same thing with life. So what happens is that we're seeing people that are continuing to chill with the fools. And in hanging with the fools, just like the biblical principles say, they suffer harm. When what they needed to do was they needed to go with the ones who were being wise. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've heard it said so many times. If you wanna be successful, start hanging around successful people. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because the stuff that they had that gave them that success, typically you start to learn it. It starts to kind of rub off on you. Not only that, you build relationships, and many times those successful people might help you to be successful. Where the people who are not successful, are they helping you build your success? Those are the same people that when it comes time to support your business, support you in, just with emotional support in your education, support the good things you're trying to do, they don't give you the support. Instead, behind your back, many times, they're being haters. And they're plotting.
And you just never know who they are.
You know what I'm saying? And they're plotting. And I can't tell you how many times in the hood I heard of people that backstabbed other people and they were all on the same level. And over dumb stuff. And supposedly we're friends. And supposedly we're family. And supposedly we're this and we're that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but those are the kind of things that happen because it's foolish. It's foolish things that you do with foolish people. You know what I'm saying? So this is so important because when you think about it, you would think somebody with the success that they have. I mean, we're not just talking any old artist, right? We're talking about somebody who had success, major success, that you could say this trio was one of the groups that defined an era of hip hop, essentially.
It was extremely a major shift. It was a major shift in the music industry.
Extremely successful. And you would say,
I'm sorry, big bro, which opened many doors for those who exist today in the
exactly.
industry.
So it's like, what are you doing hanging out with people that it's like you're not hanging out with people that are doing any good. And we see this all the time, bro. A few months ago, I remember there was a kid got out the hood in New York. Was going to college, full paid scholarship, and decides to go chill out at a party with people from the block. And they killed him. Again, they didn't get killed because he had an argument and they shot him. He was caught in a crossfire. It's like, bro, you made it out. What are you doing? Now, I'm not saying that you can't have fun, but we really got to analyze things. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody has your good intentions at heart. So this is what happens. It's like that biblical principle. If you're with the wise, you'll become wise. But if you're a companion, notice, it's not saying that you're being foolish. But if you're being a companion with people that are being foolish, you will suffer harm. You will suffer destruction. That's what the word says. And bro, we are seeing it happen in droves. It's not just artists. We're seeing it happen with people in our very communities, people that we've grown up with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, all for what? Really, for what? And I want to circle back to what you said about, now these celebrities, these artists, they're trying to bring awareness to this stuff, and maybe they need to start shifting their focus into, maybe rapping more about the mental health and this and that.
It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a major challenge.
It's going to be a challenge, but here's the thing. Let's call it what it is. Where you hear of the most violence, the music where you hear the most violence is hip hop. Right? So I'm going to talk now from a musical perspective. If we look at hip hop, bro, hip hop was originally about bringing up the issues, bringing up the problems that are plaguing a community, that are plaguing a society. It was meant to bring that kind of awareness. It was for awareness. It was for building up. It was to bring up the struggle so people could be aware, and here's how we can help each other. It was all about that. It was really a community building tool and an awareness tool. And then all of a sudden, the 90s, we started to get like the party hip hop, right? And then the party hip hop turned into like the violent hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we just continue to get worse, where everything, let's call it what it is, bro. Let's be honest. This is all about being honest. Everything that you pretty much hear in most hip hop right now is violence. If it's the ladies, for the most part, is them hoeing around. Like, it is what it is, Like, what do you think you're building up? You know what I'm saying? Because if we look at the people that were doing the hip hop in the 80s or early 90s, they were bringing forth awareness, and you started to see African Americans and Hispanics that were becoming more aware of the situation, and were now trying to educate themselves and build themselves up and try to build communities up. It didn't mean that you weren't suffering things like gang violence and stuff like that. You were always going to have that because it's a hood for a reason, right? But there was an increase of people that were becoming educated. There was an increase of people that were taking it serious. There was an increase of people that wanted to bring forth the awareness and all that stuff. We were going in the right direction. But look at what it's brought forth once we got into the partying, once we got into the violence, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. You are reaping what you're sowing. So what was reaped into the community about awareness and building up was, they were sowing that, so that was being reaped. Then you started to get into the party stuff. You were sowing the party stuff, and that's what you were reaping. People wanted to do nothing but party. And then you got into the violence, and you were sowing violence. And now, why are you surprised that you get in violence? You were sowing promiscuity, like hardcore. You know what I'm saying? And what do you think that you're reaping now? When everybody's hoeing around, it is what it is. It's the honest to God truth. So this is not working out, bro. So now it's a challenge. Now it's an uphill challenge, because now it would take a major shift, right? Major shift. You'd have to have everybody on board to be like, I'm going to put a stop to this, and I'm going to start rapping about this. And the issue is, you now have a people who, because of their flesh, hunger for this kind of music. So once you start giving the good message, a lot of people are not going to want to consume that, bro. So they might listen for a short period of time, but what happens, bro? Most of the time, what happens when you try to go the right way? All of a sudden, people start calling you soft. All of a sudden, people be like, nah, he got soft, or her content's not the same, or blah, 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 blah. And they're going to sell out, and there will come somebody else. There will be people that will be like, oh, it's because they already made their money. So now that's what they do, why they're doing that. But because of that, there will be somebody else that wants to be on the come up. That's going to be like, I know what they thirsting for. They thirsting for that real music. And they're going to go back to the same thing. And it breeds the same stuff. It's unfortunate, but it's true.
And that's what I want to add on to that, because I want to put out, whoever's watching, whoever's involved in music, whoever's involved with anyone that makes music, I feel like we're all involved in music, right? It might not be direct in the making, but we're listeners at the end of the day, right? You choose to listen to R&B, others choose to listen to drill, others choose to listen to hip hop, whatever the case is. It's influence. At the end of the day, it's influence. We're listeners, right? We just listen to different categories. But at the end, we receive whatever we're listening to, and it's up to us how we're going to go about it. Are we going to go ahead and behave in that manner? Are we listening just because we like the beat, because we like the lyrics? Oh man, it's funny what they said, the way they said, I like his style, her style, whatever it is. It's up to us. Now, for those who make music, I can't even, don't feel guilty, because if you're in it, you're expressing what you know, right? You make music about what you know. But again, it goes back to what I said in the beginning of the episode. It's never too late to change things around, to do things differently. If you finally wake up, if you're finally aware, and it's like, you know what, this ain't doing it. This is going to lead my people towards the wrong direction, towards the wrong behavior, to commit criminal acts. It's going to change, and people will start getting addicted to pills, to weed, to drugs in general, to substance. You can make it different, right? And it's okay. You won't be a sellout. You were rapping about what you know, but now you're rapping about what's going to actually be better and healthier for listeners. Oh, but I'm not going to get as much views or likes. That shouldn't matter. You're going to get the right views and likes, the ones that really matter. Because a lot of people are out here looking for instant gratification. They're looking for those numbers.
Facts.
They're really looking for numbers. They don't want the impact. And if anything, oh no, I really want the impact. Yeah, the impact you want is those numbers. The views, the likes.
And at what cost? At what cost?
The repost, right? And it's going to take a lot of people a tough road to learn the hard way that this isn't what life should be. It shouldn't be this way. The older we get, and let me speak for myself, and I'm sure many can relate, the older I get, the more I realize how short life is, because you just never know what can happen. And you don't have to be involved. You said it 5 minutes ago. You don't have to be involved. You can just be caught in a crossfire, walking with your kids or alone or with your family. And you just never know. There's a lot of things that we're trying to get done out here. I was a knucklehead in the past. I was a knucklehead. I've made plenty of mistakes. I used to think I was super ignorant, and I saw things one way because it's what I knew at the time. But I'm grateful for what I know today. And I don't allow myself, because of what I knew before, for me to stay there. And when I say stay there, I mean physically, but I also mean mentally. I've stepped out of that zone. And this is what many of you have to do. You have to start changing what you have up here. You have to start letting go. You have to start moving on. You have to start making things different for you, for your family, for those who are around you. Because at the end of the day, one person ain't going to do it. It takes a group. It takes a whole group to make a change, to change the world, to change the environment, to change the community. And it takes these moments, what we're doing every Thursday, to discuss these topics, to make change, to wake people up, to make them feel valuable, to make them feel, yes, there's a way for you, there's a way out, to give them comfort, to help them find solutions. But I got one even better, to help them heal. Because everything is in the healing. Everything is in the healing. If you fail to heal, you're not going to make a change. You're going to try to change, but you're always going to be pulled back into that past mindset, those past beliefs.
You know
Right.
what, bro? With that, you just giving me like revelation of it too. You're absolutely right, because when you think about it, let's stick with the music, because we're in the music, right? When that new artist comes out and they're going at it hard, right? They're going at it hard, and later on, people are always like, "Oh, they got soft now because they got the money and everything." Normally, when they come at it hard, why are they going at it hard?
It's what they know.
It's essentially a way to be like, you always hear the same thing. You always hear the same thing. It's kind of like, I came to take this, you know, and essentially show y'all how it's done because I came to take the game or whatever. But for what reason? It's not for reputation. It's to get the money. So now you got to think, a lot of these people then, when they get the money, right? And I'm going to circle this back into personal, into like us as a people, right? Not talking just artists. But once they get the money, what happens? They start to fill in the gaps with like, oh, I'm buying this and I'm buying that. Cardi B got like 20 cars that she can't even drive. She cannot drive them. She does not know how to drive. But I just had them just to have them. You know, this is why you get artists, athletes, movie stars who go broke, who are like, I don't know where my money's at. I thought I had more money than this. And they go broke with a house that's customized to their liking, that they'll never get the same money that they spent on it because it's customized. Whoever is dumb enough to buy it has to tear down a lot of things because they don't want the gold-plated entrance with your name on it. You know what I'm saying? They want the house that they want. The car's the worst investment because the moment that you drive it out the lot, they lose like, you know, 25% of their value
25%
at least.
Yeah.
So you look at all these different things, and it's for what? It's because you're so, you know, you're so enamored with, okay, I made it, so now I got to show that I made it, that you never look at, why do you feel that you need all these things? Who do you need to impress? For what reason? That leads to the root. What happened before? What's in your past that you feel that you need to make up for it, that just making the statement of I'm here is not enough? You know what I'm saying? Then now I got to fill it in with all these things that I'm missing. These are the kind of things that lead to people's destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only will you never be happy with all those things that you're trying to fill your life with, because you never got to the root of the problem of why you mad to begin with anyway, that you went so hard to enter into it, right? But on top of that, the people those fools that are behind it, a lot of times you'll associate with, they're just as hungry as you are, and they want it just as bad. And that's why they do dumb stuff.
And
to
some
make it
people don't
happen.
know. Some people don't know how to play their role. And I'm gonna say that
You know what
right
I'm
now.
saying?
Some people don't know how to play their role. And what I'm trying to say by that is, you're the artist, and you're shining. You don't know who you have around you that wants to bring you down because why him? Why not me? Or why her? Why not me? Right? You never know what's running through their mind. And you're never going to satisfy everyone. So
Yep.
at the end of the day, you got to do what's best, not only for you, but what's best for those around you and for the people that are looking up to you.
Exactly. And that's where now we can circle this and bring it back to us as a personal level, your normal person, the person that's not going to be famous, right?
It goes both ways.
A lot of times you finally have that moment where you are like, okay, I need to make my mark. I need to get what I need to get, and I'm going to go hard at it. And you do go hard at it. But then what happens when you get to the level that you think that you wanted to get to, the level that you wanted to achieve, right? How many of us don't make the same mistake of like, it's not just that I made it, but now I want to show off that I made it. And that's where we start buying all these things that we never wanted to get to begin with, that we were just good with, oh, if I can only get to here. But now you're showing off. And because you're showing out, there's, you know, again, there's people who are taking notice. First of all, you're blowing your money on stuff. Second of all, there's people that are like, ooh, that person has this. How can I get that? And some people will try to get it with the illest intention, with the worst of intentions. You know what I'm saying?
We see it happen in the news all the time.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you don't go broke because you doing, you know, this is not everybody, but this is a lot of people, a large segment of people. If you don't go broke showing out, you are putting yourself at risk because you are showing out, because you're getting the extra stuff that you probably didn't really need, you know? And I'm telling you this because I can tell you it from experience. It's not just that I see it constantly, not just with famous people, but with your average person, you know, that I encounter. But on top of that, I've lived it. You know, I remember when I was like, okay, I'm gonna go hard at this. And it was like, I remember at 19, I was making I was working on Wall Street and I was making a salary that no 19-year-old was making. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, this is good. And then and of course I spent a bunch of money on dumb stuff. But you were young, so you make the excuse, right? But then I remember it was like, okay, now I moved and I went through life and everything like that, but I settled down and I moved and I was like, I'm good with this salary. And it was like, cool. And now I want to open up my business. And I just remember thinking at that time, if only I can get to this amount, not only will I be good because I be, comfortable paying everything, but on top of that, you'll have your money to save. You'll have plenty of wiggle room. I mean, you're going to be good. You know what I'm saying? And then it was like, no, that never happened. When you start to attain more, the goal that you had and the vision that you had of like, I'm good, still living like I'm here, but being up here, that's a very difficult thing to actually fulfill. Because when you're up here, you continue to think the ladder is going to go higher and higher and higher. So why not bring this up? Maybe not all the way up here, but why not just bring this up over here? Because I know I'm going over here. But you never know the day that you're going to go back down here. You see what I'm saying? Where if you would have done what you felt that you needed to do and kept it like this, if you ever drop back down here, you were going to be okay. But now you're up here and you brought this up here. And when you're back down here, you can't attain it right now. And that's where you bring in unnecessary stress and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's, again, what was the reason that you felt that you needed to come up here if you felt great here before? Oh, it's because now you started to see that the people who are up here seem to have more, seem to want more, seem to be flossing with more, seem to be driving something different, seem to be having a different upgrade on this, an upgrade over here. Their apartment is now this kind of apartment, or their house is this kind of house, and it's difficult. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And they have to be aware. You all have to be aware of who you are. You have to be aware of what you're happy with. You have to be aware that the next person is always going to be who they are and you are you. And not comparing yourselves to other people's success, to other people's way of living conditions, to their budget. You have to stick to you, right? Because you're working on levels. You never know someone else's life. You don't know what it took for them to get there. You don't know what they're dealing with right this moment. They might be driving an X7, but you don't know if the payments are up to here. You don't know they driving Benzes, but working in Target. And it's like, what's going on here, right? Unless, again, I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying, you never know who's who, because at the end of the day, someone may be working in Target for health benefits, but he's in the market heavy, in the financial market, in the stock market. So you never know. Again, I'm not criticizing. I'm just putting examples out there. Yeah, I'm just putting examples. But you do have people who work in fast food restaurants with Beamers because status. It's a status symbol. Or
their priority is the Beamer.
They think I got it. They're gonna say, I'm making money. I'm getting the bag is the new line nowadays. And that's not how it works. We got to think about our future. We got to think about our stability. We got to think about our happiness. And that's what really matters. And those who are in the industry and out, they can tell you if they've been there and lost it all, they'll tell you. For those who have been there and remain there, they'll tell you the same thing. In fact, those are the people that are going to give you the best advices, especially those who are transparent, because you have a lot of people BSing out there. There's a lot of people cheating other people. There's a lot of people not being transparent, not being honest. But you do have very few. If you come across them, you got to hold on to them tight, because they're going to put you up on game. The pros and cons of the different tax brackets, the different levels, the age you have, and the mindset you currently have at that age, whatever that is. It can be your 20s, it can be your 30s, it can be your 40s. There's always going to be someone correcting you. There's always going to be someone watching you, whoever you talk to, whoever you go to. Again, mentorship is very important.
Mentorship is so key, so important.
It's very important who you keep around, who you roll around with. If you're going out every single weekend, spending money, chipping for a bottle, 2 or 3 or 4 package, just to light up the club, to show people you got it. You want to buy crazy outfits to go home alone at the end of the night because you want to impress other people, but you're not focused on your happiness. This is where the problems are. This is why people ask themselves, like, oh, but why am I going through this? But you really don't see what you're doing. The spending habits, the habits that you have in general, the changes that you're not making. For some, they're aware, but they're just afraid to take the next step, to move away from those people, to move away from that environment, to move on from that job that's doing them no good, to move on from their partner, to move on from that group of people, whatever the case is. It's affecting you. And there was something that I came across, man. I posted this up about a day or two ago. I can't remember. It might have been yesterday. Pitbull. They mentioned to him, you were all about the streets. What happened? He was like, yeah, I rap about the streets to get out of the streets, not to stay in it. Because he was rapping about what he knew. But the people he started to meet, the people he started to network with, where they were dragging him into, the new environment, right? The new mindsets, people in different tax brackets, people that were offering opportunities. He wasn't turning them down. He was taking it. Yeah.
Hold up. So you're trying to tell me that the one who was walking with the wise became wise? Didn't we just say biblical principle?
Boom. He made it happen. To me, that's inspirational. And to me, coming across that content, I'm like, you know what? I got to put this up because a lot of people are going to eventually watch it, and maybe that can change their mindset. We can't keep these gems to ourselves. Again, this is what this platform is all about. This is what my page, that's what we post on our page. That's what you preach, Pastor Carlos, Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Sundays. Is what you dedicate because you want to make change in this world. We want to make change. For those who are watching us, we want you to feel comfortable. We want you, we're trying to give you great messages and just to show you and tell you, you have people to go to if you need clarity. You have people to go to if you have any questions, in need of any advice. If there's anything you want to discuss, if you're lost, confused, whatever the case is, we're here for you. And I'm sure you have at least one person in your family that's there for you. But you might be disregarding them because you're too busy with your boys or your homegirls that are too busy to chip in for bottles. Too busy to compare each other. Oh, what shoes you got? You got the red bottoms? I got those Louis V's. I got the Gucci. Oh, yeah, you got that Gucci purse? But I got the new one that just came out. The leather. The leather, not the cloth, the leather. Who cares? Let's talk about how you're going to help me move forward. Let's talk about how you're going to help me move past these thoughts that I have.
It's and this is a little bit of wisdom, right? People that have that kind of mentality, right, never realize ultimately how foolish you look. I'm going to give you an example. You'll get people that will go and let's take it in levels, right? You'll get people that will go and buy they'll go to Chinatown, buy the fake Fendi, buy the fake Gucci, blah, blah, blah. And people in the hood don't think nothing of it. It's just like, oh, he got that Fendi, he got that Gucci, whatever, right? But the people who buy the product typically, the people who got the money, look at that person like they're a fool, right? So this person down here tries to elevate themselves here, but this person who's already here is like, you look foolish, right? So what did you go spending that money for, buying the knockoff, when the person who's buying the real is like, you look dumb, right? Now there's people who go, oh, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go buy the Gucci and I'm gonna buy the Fendi, whatever. I'm gonna buy the Louis Vuitton. I'm gonna buy whatever, and they go and they buy the real one, right? And there they go, thinking, oh, I bought the real one. But they don't realize at this level where you have the people that typically buy the real one frequently, they'll look at the person on this side and they'll be like, that was last year's Louis. Or last season's
It's
losing.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So it's like now you look foolish because you got the real one and you spent the money for it, but this person over here is looking at you like an idiot because they're like, you're wearing the one from last season, even if last season was a month ago. I'm rocking the new season. You're rocking the old one. You ain't on my level. So that drops you down. And then to top it off, that's just to show that as you go up, if you want to play that kind of game, right? Instead of looking at the root of why you feel you need the things, there's always somebody who's going to have more than you, newer than you, better than you. Always.
Which
You
is
could go
why.
buy the. Go ahead.
No. Finish. I was just
No,
gonna say, which is why you always have to stick to who you are.
exactly. That's why you get to the root of the problem that's causing you to be like that and be who you really are, who you've been called to be, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like if I go buy the Benz, somebody got the S class is gonna laugh at me. But somebody who bought that S class, there's always somebody that got it with all the premiums. And that person with all the premiums thinks that they hot. But then that while they thinking that they hot, the person that's driving the Aston Martin is like you driving that poor people car in your Benz. You know
I'm
what I'm saying?
glad.
So there's
I'm
always
glad you brought
there's
that
always that
up.
level. There's always that level. And you know what the worst part is? Then when you get to what's supposed to be the top of the top, just so you can see how this works. Once you get to the top of the top, with the people who rocking all the hottest whatever, the top of the line whatever, the most options, the latest season and all that stuff, they're being looked upon by the people at the very, very top like you're an idiot because I'm holding on to my money and I'm up here because I don't spend on that stuff. You are paying for me to be up here by spending what you're spending, and I'm up here. Look how foolish you are. You see what I'm saying? That's
It's
why you
sad.
need to see where's that letter taking you and who's at the top. Because the person at the top is looking at you spending, and for what reason? They're like, you're making my money. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? That's the game. That's the
And
absolute game. But if you get to the root of the issue and you are who you're supposed to be, and you can say, wait, what's driving me to do this? I'm wanting to upgrade. What's my reason? I'm wanting to get the new house or the bigger apartment or the new shoes or what's the reason? And really analyze, look in your heart, ask the Lord for revelation and direction. What is your reason? Because if your reason is that you need to show out, cut it. Don't do it. It's the worst thing that you can do.
and it's something that we have to discuss because I remember Gary V, man. Gary V is major. He's another one that I look up to. He's mentioned like a lot of people, they don't know how to stick to their budget, right? They don't know how to stick to what they can actually afford. Don't compare yourselves to others. You know, all you have to do is if you can live in the hood, there's no problem living in the hood. Depending where you're at, you don't need a 2-bedroom. You can go for a studio, right? Because if you're in school, why do you need a 2-bedroom for? Or unless if you need a 2-bedroom because you'll have a roommate eventually, then cool. You have ways to work, but be smart about your spending. Be smart about your money and how you're going to spend it. Now, what's really taking place out there, big bro, with everything we've been mentioning so far, there's a war out there that people aren't realizing. And the war that I'm about to mention, right? We've spoken about spiritual warfare. We've spoken about that already, right? We know that.
Yep.
But people fail to see that there's a war out there. Ego wars.
Ooh.
There's ego wars that are causing people to go against each other. It's ego wars that's causing people to have mental illness, to put their mental health at risk, emotional health at risk, to put them at risk physically, spiritually, even financially, in multiple areas. It's the ego wars. And that's why we have to raise awareness. We have to be very careful, guys. Don't compare yourself to others. Be careful with the lives that you see out there. Be careful with the images, wow, this person is so successful. They're so happy. Why not me? No, you can be there too, but you're not focused on the right thing. You don't have the right people around you. You're not talking to the right people. Why? Because your conversations consist of what we're doing next weekend, what we're doing tonight, when your conversation should be, what's the next opportunity? What can I do for you? What can you do for me? What can we do together to make it happen? Because I'm tired of living like this. I'm tired of not being able to pay my bills. I'm tired of not being able to save money. I'm tired not being able to afford what I want. And even the things that you need.
I was about to say
Now,
need. Forget about what you
you know what I'm
want.
saying? Yeah,
You can't even afford what you need.
yeah. And it's like,
Some people can't afford to
that's
go to the doctor, and they need to go to the doctor.
that's
Some people can't
priority.
afford to eat better, and they need to eat better, but they have to buy the junk. You know what I'm saying? Because they can't afford the better food.
Exactly.
It's the truth.
Their ego's in the way. Their pride is in the way. They're blind, focusing on the wrong things because they're not giving themselves the opportunity to change their mindset. We have the internet now. We have social media. Yeah, we come across violence. We come across comedy. But there's people out there like us that are putting out healthy topics, that are giving you hints, that are giving you advice, that are putting out, we'll mention books, we'll give you a good message to make sure that we keep your mind right, to make sure that we keep you on track on a daily basis. If you step into the link in my bio, you'll see my YouTube channel. If you step into my profile, all you're going to run into is inspirational videos. It's very rare for you to come across something negative on my page. Again, I'm not saying I'm perfect. Listen to what I'm saying. Simply, what I'm saying is we are giving good messages. We are being very transparent. You're getting to know who we are. You're getting to know the way we think. You're getting to know what we have to offer all through this platform, all through our
Yep.
profile, all through our YouTube channels, all through what Pastor Carlos and I are doing. And we're not the only ones doing it, but you got to dig in the right places because your focus is in the wrong places. If there's anything affecting you, if you don't like the way that you're feeling because of whatever you're going through, then you're going to have to start unfollowing some pages. You're going to have to stop listening to certain music. You're going to have to stop having certain conversations with certain people. You're going to have to stop watching those TV shows that you've been watching because either you're binge watching or because they're bad influence. Whatever it's
Exactly.
in, it's no good for you. And it's as simple as addiction. It's as simple as where your mind is going, what you're doing on your time off. Because sometimes we want to live the life that we see on TV. Oh, you don't want me to go there. Sometimes there's people out there that they want to live the life that they hear in their music. Because that drill music is popping, right? That drill music is real good. That trap
Yep.
music is good. That reggaeton is good. And you want to live that life. But guess what, though? It's okay to listen to it. Just don't let it consume you. Don't let it take your mind and do whatever it wants with it. No, it's okay to listen to it, enjoy it, set a limit, set it aside, and stay focused. If you want to look
Facts.
for a way to reduce stress, to focus on any chores you have to get done. Okay, cool, listen to your music. Okay, you can watch this TV show to get a break, but don't do too much of it. Because too much of something it's almost never good. And that goes for the good and the bad. That goes for food, that goes for drinks, that goes for everything in our life. We have to set limits. Why? It's okay to play, but remember, what are you doing to work on your stability, to work on your happiness, to work on your abilities, to work on everything that you're trying to accomplish? What are you doing about it? What is it that you're doing about it? Again, you got to be careful. There's ego. There's a whole bunch of egos out there, ego wars taking place. And it's
Yep.
causing death. It's causing death. It's causing mental illness. This is why you may be depressed. This is why may you be going through anxiety. It's why your mind is all over the place. This is why people are getting shot. This is why
Yep.
people are doing the shooting. You know, this is why the violence is taking place.
It causes death, and it causes a lack of unity. And
Definitely.
I'm mentioning it because, a lot of people think like, oh, okay, that's just the world. That's just the world. It's just, it's just what you see in the hood. It's just what you see with the poor people, or what you see with this, or what you see with that. No, I see it infiltrate the church, consistently, because you got people with, you got churches that stay, instead of being united, will be like, oh, I won't do anything with any other church because I'm afraid they're going to steal my members. Or
Listen, man.
I see how the people from this church over there, how they give money to that church or whatever, how they give money to their church, and my people don't do that. And they throw a fit, and it's like, or they treat the people this way, like they treat the leadership this way, and we don't get that kind of treatment, or all different kinds of stuff where they're
Comparison,
like,
comparison,
exactly, or they'll
comparison.
be like, what is a church like Elevation doing that I can't be on their level? I do the same thing, or they go preach, they go preach lies, they're wolves in sheep's clothing, and it's like, really? For what's your reasoning? Now, I'm not saying that people sometimes don't do things wrong, because everybody's human beings, but it's like, I'm just telling you, even in the church, you have ego. You got a bunch of people living off ego, that it's like, also get into stuff that they don't need to be getting into because of ego. Because, like you said, it's a comparison. You start comparing, and you're like, oh, but I could be doing this, or I should be having that. And it's like, do you realize on all these levels, whether it's personal, whether it's musical, whether it's a church thing, whatever, at the end of the day, you should be going to the Lord to be asking for direction on, like, okay, where do you want me to go? Why am I at where I'm at right now? What do you want to give me? Oh, or let me rephrase that. How about switching your mode so that you can see that, instead of looking at what you're lacking because somebody else has all these things that you think that you're lacking, looking at the fact that you're blessed because you got a bunch of stuff that the Lord has blessed you with that other people don't have. That maybe that person that you think is higher up, again, when we talk about the comparison, that person that's higher up because they seem to have this status, right? They seem to have these things. They might be having, they might be suffering depression. Maybe they're lacking a relationship with their spouse. Maybe their kids are off the rails. Maybe they just overall suffer depression. And while you don't have the financial things, they're like, man, but look at them and how that family is. Look at how that spouse is. Look at how they're healthy. Look at how they don't suffer with depression. They're always happy. You know what I'm saying? That's like where it's like we go back to the whole thing. You don't know what somebody else is going through. So how are you asking for the things that they have in their life?
And there's always something that you'll have that the couple or the other family won't have. If you start comparing, you're always gonna notice, or you're gonna think that you have things that they don't have, and it's vice versa.
Yep,
But that's not the point here. The point is, are you stable? Are you happy?
exactly.
Why are you comparing your life to someone else's? It shouldn't be that way. If anything, focus on you, focus on your life, and focus on helping others. Focus on helping others heal, helping others get to where you are or above. That's what life is about.
Yep.
That's what life is about. It's all about making that change. Again, not only for you, but it's also for the next person, because you never know who's watching. You never know who's looking up to you. What you think, who you think you are, remember that there's people viewing you. There's a lot of people out there with low self-esteem. There's a lot of people out there doing things just to gain status, respect. But really, you have the respect by being you, and you don't have to go outside of that. I don't have to walk around slapping people around because I may be right and they're wrong. So let me just start slapping people because I just want to gain respect. No, I've gained respect because of who I am, because of the things I've spoken, because of the way I've treated people. And that's okay. That's what we have to start making normal in this society.
Yeah, facts.
Love, care, support. Love, care, support is the main thing. There's a lot of people out there just harming each other, hurting each other. Again, those ego wars, especially now with social media,
With
because
social media, it's
because
on
because
another level.
in person things may take place and people leave it there. But nowadays, there's people that don't know how to take a L. Oh no, he disrespected me, and he went on the gram. I'm not taking that because there's millions and thousands of people watching. So I got to do something about it, because they'll know about what happened to me, but I want them to know what I did, how I retaliated.
Which is hilarious because you said like millions of people, and that's the thing. In their ego, they're so gassed, thinking that millions of people are looking at like the whole internet knows what happened to me, and it's like, bro, you
You
got
got
200 followers, and out of those 200 followers, 15 people probably really pay attention to your post. I doubt they're really paying attention to the fact that somebody, you know, said
there's
something about you. Stop
there's
it.
there's people out here willing to do life in prison just to gain respect because that's what people are looking for out here. They
I
just
think nobody
want the
told.
respect.
I think nobody told them that they can't access the gram from prison.
You know what I'm saying?
Dummies,
There's a
man.
they lose
Dummies.
access. They lose access to everything, all in a split second. All in a split second. And the crazy
Foolishness.
thing is that you'll have the people who have done jail time tell you it only takes a split second to commit a mistake that you'll have to pay for years. So you lose years of your life over a few seconds, which is why we have to wake up. We have to do things different. Learn how to take L's. Learn how to take L's. I'm not saying just, you know, you got to defend yourself one way or another, but don't provoke. Don't start a problem, right? If there's any way that you can avoid, you don't have to confront nobody. They're talking about you. They're saying things about you. Let it be. If you know it ain't true, then why even entertain it? If you know it's not true, why entertain it?
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
There's someone starting a problem. You out with your boys, with your homegirls. Walk away from the problem. Whatever they start saying because you walked away instead of throwing your hands up, forget about that. Walk away, get into a car, bounce. Because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're not going to see tomorrow. Which is why I said in the beginning of this video, of our episode, life could be short. Life could be short, and we have a whole life ahead of us, but we got to know how to move. We got to know when to say something and when to stay quiet, when to take those losses, when to take those L's, and don't let the people around you influence you. How about you start evaluating who you have around you? Whenever you find yourself in a problem, those that are making the situation worse instead of protecting you, you got to cut them off instant or the very next day. Once you get back to your senses, you got to cut them off. Don't give them the benefit of the doubt because now not only are they not trying to pull me away from danger, they're trying to lead me into danger. All for what? To rep the block? To rep the set? What is that going to do? That's not going to pay your family's bill when you're gone, and that could be underground, 7 feet deep, or in jail. Those people that you're with that are probably no good for you, they're not going to cover your family's bills. They're not going to do nothing for you. And even if they would, you're not here to take care of your family. So what is it any good? Is it any good?
Facts.
We have to make these changes. And I know change is hard. Change takes a lot. For some people it's easy. For some people it's really hard and it takes years. It takes baby steps. For some, they can go and change their lives from one day to another. But there's others, like myself, it took me years to learn the hard way. to learn who people are, how they act, how that can affect me, or how my behavior has affected them, because I can't just speak about other people. I got to speak on myself too. I've been wrong in my past. I've been wrong. Bad influence. I may have behaved in a certain way that wasn't normal and wasn't right, but why was that? That could be because of the influence. That could be because of the people I had around me. That could be because of what the music I was listening to, what I was watching at the time. I wasn't reading no books. I was just listening to music, and the only books that I was reading was when I was in college. It had to do with the major, but I wasn't reading any books on development. I wasn't reading any books on emotional intelligence. I wasn't reading any books on real estate. I wasn't reading any books on business. I wasn't reading any books on economics. I wasn't reading any books. I was just reading the streets, reading people. I was believing in people, in the wrong people. And I damn sure learned the hard way. And I'm grateful for it. I can't even regret it. But there are times when I'm like, man, I could have done things different. What I know now, I'm sure I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I could have been a lot farther. But I can't let that hold me back. I can't let that hold me back. I'm just grateful for where I'm at. I'm grateful for the information that I've been consuming. I'm grateful for the people that I have around me, which is very few. I'm grateful for just everything that I'm stepping myself into, the mindset that I have today, the perspective, the impact that we've been, which has been major all through the platform. Everything that I've been consuming and putting out on the platform, putting out on a daily, putting out through conversations that people appreciate, confirms that I'm finally doing the right thing. I'm finally doing what I should have been doing a long time ago. I'm finally doing the things that I was ignoring, the gift, the purpose that I had. Because I knew it all along. Big bro, I've spoken to you many times. It's like I knew this, but I just didn't know how to act. I just didn't know how to implement, right? I would speak on change. I would speak on positivity, but I wasn't really applying. So it was in me. I just didn't know how to handle it, which is the reason why I wasn't blessed with what I've been blessed to date, because I would have mishandled my blessings in the past for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I thought
Absolutely.
I would have been thinking it was me who made it happen. I got myself out of the problem. I got myself this check. I got myself this opportunity. I got myself into this network, into this environment, into this mindset. I made it happen. Now the man above, he's been with me all along. I've just been ignoring him for quite some time. I was ignoring him for quite some time. But when I started putting him in my situations, and I started praying heavy, and I started believing, and I started just focusing on everything that's made me feel good, that's helped me change, develop, grow, it was easy for me to just reevaluate the people I had around, reevaluate the conversations that I was having, the music that I was listening to. And don't get me wrong, I still listen to all the music I love, but I know how to set a limit. I know there's times in the day that I don't listen to certain things. In fact, there's times when I don't really listen to it at all, because I don't want to go back to the past beliefs, back to the mindset I used to have, back into those thoughts that I would easily get, because music is powerful. TV shows are powerful.
Absolutely.
Are powerful. And you can easily go back to who you were, even if it's just for a few minutes. But we don't want that. So what am I going to do? If something's going to affect me, I'm either going to avoid the person, avoid that photo album, avoid that playlist. I'm going to avoid a lot of things. I'm going to avoid that setting. You invited me to a bar? Nah, how about we hit up Haiku? What the hell is Haiku is what everyone's asking. It's an Asian restaurant. Clean food. No drinks involved. I don't want to be where I used to be. I don't know what or who I'm going to run into. And that doesn't always mean another person. I might run into the old me. I'm just saying.
Facts. You know, a lot of
And
times
that can
people think
happen
relapse
multiple
is
ways.
a lot of times people think relapse is alcohol, drugs, right?
Mhm.
But you don't realize I mean, a lot of people don't, you know, again, it's all a matter of perspective, and this is why you got to open your mind to
Yeah.
perspective. You got to be aware. Um, an alcoholic does not taste a drop of alcohol because, you know, there's many alcoholics that will tell you if I taste even a drop, I'm as good as dead because I'm going to go right back. There are people who do drugs that have been delivered from drugs, and but they know I can't mess with even the lightest thing. I mean, you got drug addicts that'll be like, I won't even take a Tylenol, not
Wow.
even a Tylenol.
That's
But
major.
you most people would be like, it's harmless. You know what I'm saying? But to them, they're like, yo, I was so into drugs that for me it's not harmless. If I take that Tylenol will hit me a certain kind of way, and my body is gonna want to go to the
Craves.
next thing. You
So
know
you
what I'm
start
saying?
craving.
And there goes the domino effect. So they don't even go into the Tylenol or regular aspirin. You know what I'm saying? You're absolutely right, little bro. For some of us, it's like maybe God wants to cut me off to the music because if I listen to that music, it's gonna bring me back to thoughts of where I used to be, what I believed was a good time, and all of a sudden it's like, hmm, kind of want to. That sounds kind of fun. Let me. What would it hurt if I just dive into that a little bit? You know, just just put my foot in the water. That's it. Just tiptoe my foot in the water, and it's like you don't realize it. Just like the drug addict can't take the aspirin, just like the alcoholic can't take a sip of alcohol or a drop of alcohol because they'll go down that path. You know, because it could lead to self control not being there. You might go tip, you know, your toe in the water, and next thing you know, you're throwing yourself in entirely, you know, into it. And next thing you know,
Yeah.
a bunch of other stuff starts suffering because you started to get drawn into it, or watching the wrong shows, or hanging out around the wrong people, or being in the wrong environment. And that's the thing, not everybody can catch themselves. That's the thing. Not everybody can catch themselves
Wow.
because our ego makes us feel like I got this under control. I'm gonna have this under control. Nothing to worry about. I got this under control. I got this. I can do that. And it's like some of us need to be honest. We don't even need to be not even need to be thinking about going that route because it
Hmm.
will lead to the old you, and you don't, you know, you're supposed to be a new creation. You're not supposed to go back to the old you. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? Um, it's a dangerous place, bro. It's a dangerous place.
So make that change. Make that change. Don't feel ashamed. You got to do what's best for you because doing what's best for you is going to do what's best for the people you're with, the people you're involved with, to where you're heading. Um, Making those changes is what's going to help you develop, make you become a better person. You'll meet the new version of you, the best version of you, and you'll just it's up from there. You know, when I what I mean by saying up from there, you stay focused. You're going to continue to gain so much knowledge, wisdom, to the point where you're able to help the next person. Like literally, you're able to help because you've been there. So the best thing about it is you being there. It's like you're the best person to go to have the conversation, to receive advice from, to know what it's like to live in the hood, you know, to know what it's like to be a person that's been there. And even if you made mistakes, you know, your story is worth so much you have no idea, especially for the youth, especially for the youth, because there's a lot of people going down the wrong route, and again, like we mentioned, it does lead to death at times, you know, um, major, major problems. Jael, I notice all the enemy needs is a crack to enter before the crack becomes a hole, becomes a crater. That's major. That's
That's
major.
facts right there.
Yup.
Those
All
are
the enemy
absolute
needs is a
facts.
crack to enter before the crack becomes a hole, becomes a crater. That is major. But we definitely got to focus on these changes. Focus on these changes.
And
If there's anyone,
there's a reason. Oh, go ahead. Invite people. Absolutely.
yeah. Let me go ahead. Before, hold that thought, big bro. If there's anyone that wants to join the live to add on to the topic, to today's topic, if there's anyone that wants to join the live to simply greet, say hello, appreciate what we're doing, whatever it is that you want to discuss, please feel free to do so. Send a request. I'll be more than happy to get you on the live. For those who want to ask a question, receive specific advice, you do have the option on the bottom right corner, bubble with the question mark, drop your question or statement, and we'll be more than happy to read it out loud and say no name. Also, we've been working really hard on building this platform, really dedicated to make a difference, to keep giving a good message. On the bottom, you do have the option to send a donation, a badge. Please, you're not obligated. Just want to put that out there, but you do have the option to send a donation. That'll definitely go towards the platform. And again, we haven't touched the donations that we've received. We're letting definitely God give us the message to see what we'll do with it, but it's definitely we would definitely appreciate it if you're able to do so. Again, you're not obligated. So if anyone wants to join, send a request now. We'll be more than happy to get you on. Also, one thing, the link in my bio, please take a look at the links that I have there. 2 out of all the links that I have are the emailing list and text messaging list, because we will soon be streaming through Zoom or through YouTube, right?
Through YouTube.
Through YouTube, I apologize. Through YouTube. We will still be streaming through Instagram. We don't know if we're gonna run into any problems, any connection problems. Hopefully not. But if you want to get the notification, we will be more than happy to email it to you. If you join the emailing list, drop your email. We'll send it over. And that's also for any updates, because we have so much more coming, so much more that we're doing, and we just want to keep you notified. If you want
There's
us
a
to
lot
send
of
you a
stuff
text,
happening in just a matter of weeks. So
if you want for us to text you, we'll be more than happy to text you. Drop your phone number in the SMS list. The link is in my bio. For those who are watching us and are new, welcome. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for watching, for taking the time to watch us. Those who are on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook, you will receive a notification if you choose the Remind Me option, which I have the live video set on my profile 1 week prior to the episode taking place. Once you click on the episode, you have the option to click on Remind Me. When you click on Remind Me, you will get notified 2 days before the live takes place, the day before, and the day of. We do post the notification in our stories. We would post it on our profile, but you will always find it on the profile itself. It's a scheduled live every week, every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast. So please make sure not to miss out. It's been 49 episodes, 49 weeks, 3 more weeks, and it's a full year of this amazing platform that we've put out, discussing multiple topics, mental health, focusing on the well-being of others, putting out testimonies, not only ourselves, but even from our viewers. So
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this as well, and I'm thinking the year anniversary, we probably will not do episode 52 because on the date that we normally would do it, because it's going to be Thanksgiving, and we want everybody to enjoy time with the families, and of course we need some time with our families as well, right?
Hmm.
But that means that we will be celebrating episode 52 on December 1st. December 1st. So just be ready.
Oh,
I
okay.
think who knows? I mean, we got about a month till then, and there could be announcements between now and then as well. We could be having some big time announcements for the first. So let's see what God has planned.
Definitely. So, Big Bro, I hope you didn't lose that thought, man.
No, no, no. I know exactly what I was going to go to, and getting back to a lot of what we were talking about in terms of building up, especially, we've talked early in the message about building up and how the musicians should, really there needs to be that shift, right? Because they got that influence and everything like that. But I really want to share with everybody here something that I wasn't sure if it was something that I would share today. It's just something that I know that I shared yesterday, but God gave me some direction and everything like that. And then I knew it was something for some future date. I think it's something that I'm going to be fleshing out more. I'm just waiting for direction on him for it. But it's
Okay.
something that I feel the need to bring it up today because it kind of falls in line with that message, and it falls in line with a lot of the things that we were talking about. Because it's really checking your ego. It's really not going back to where you were, or if you start to tiptoe that way, which all of us always have a moment in which we backslide. We always do, but it's the importance of what I'm going to mention right now, and that is, I was the last few days I was seeking from the Lord, like, hey, I'm just stressed about a number of things. I'm really looking for direction. It's like we're getting, little bro, there's things you and I have talked about briefly because we haven't had a lot of time, especially the last 3 weeks. But things that we've talked about briefly in terms of like, there are things that God wants to do, directions that He wants to take us in, and when you're not hearing anything, you're waiting for the direction of like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? What am I supposed to be doing? What direction should I be going in? Like, what message are you gonna give me? I just want to go where you want to go. Like, give me direction, right? And this was something that I know that He gave to me, but it was something that last night He showed me. It was something He wanted me to start sharing with people as well. And that direction was seek what I want to do. That's what the Lord gave me. It was seek what He wants to do, right? Because it's all about His will, right? Those of you guys that knows the Lord Prayer, I think even if you've been a Catholic church and you haven't been a Christian or anything like that, even you have heard it, which is Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will, your will, right? His will, God's will be done. It's about what He wants to do. And He was giving me a reminder of that, was about what He wants to do. And that falls hand in hand with, with when with something that we mentioned earlier in the sense of when you start moving in a certain direction, like you're like, I need to move forward, and you start going, and you start maybe doing a bunch of stuff, spending on a bunch of things that you don't need to spend on, or hanging out with now worse people, or whatever it is, right? And you're not analyzing like, why am I doing these things? Why is it that I find myself doing these things? I just need to find out why. And you need to get to the root of the issue. A lot of times it's because we're not seeking what He wants to do, which what He wants to do, I'm going to share with you, is God's come to get His children. He's come to reestablish a relationship with His children. That's the whole reason why He gave His Son up, right? For all of us. And that's what He wants to do, which that's his end game. That's His goal. He wants to reestablish that. He wants to reestablish that relationship. He wants to reestablish the image that we lost. He wants to do all of that. So what is it that we need to do, right? It's all about coming back into relationship with Him and reestablishing image. So let me show you guys something here, because ultimately when we're upgrading, because we're continuing to be upgraded, that's what the blessing that we receive is all about, right? When we're moving up, like, man, we've got this great job, and I just feel blessed that God has given me this job. Or I find myself being successful in this music, or I find myself being successful in teaching, or I find myself being successful in the athletics that I'm doing, or being a good parent, or whatever it is, right? All of that has the purpose, ultimately, no matter what, that it's in God's will, because He wants to use that to attract others, right? So let me show you guys how this works. When you're blessed with successful music, with a successful ministry, with a successful family, with a successful job, with a successful whatever it is that you're doing, right? Successful business. Think about where he took you from for you to get there. Okay? He's taking you there to show, hey, I'm allowing you to do this because there's a lot of people just like you that haven't been able to accomplish this. But I'm allowing you to do that, right? And it could be miracles as well, right? It can be that you're looking for healing and you receive healing. It can be that you're waiting for him to open the floodgates financially and he does that. It could be so many different things, right? That you've been waiting for him to use you to give prophetic word and he's doing that as well. It could be a number of different things. But he wants to use you in a way in which you know that you weren't capable of being, used. He allows that to happen instead of big up in yourself and then trying to attain a bunch of stuff that is not in his will. That's not what he wants, right? You seek, like, why is this happening? And it's like, you'll get to find that he's using that for you to attract other people. So when you're successful in your job, just like Jay Mahia said, there are people looking up to you that you don't even realize. There are people that you know that I can't reach, that Jay Mahia can't reach, that your parents aren't capable of reaching, that some of your friends can't reach. There's people that are in your grasp, in your reach, that need to see, hey, wait a second. I know where this person came from, and I see where they're being blessed. How did they get there? And ultimately, you're like, yo, it was God's will that allowed me to be blessed in this way, right? Allow this change to happen in my life. Allow this healing to happen. Allowed whatever it was. And that's your way of being able to come in and say, let me show you how. Why? Because he tells us that one of the things that's in our purpose, what we need to do is to go make disciples, right? What is discipling? Discipling is essentially mentorship as well, right? So we talked about the importance of mentorship. So it's like, when you're like, yo, how's this person doing that? Look at the changes in their life. Man, I can even tell that they're a different person. They're not angry like they were before. They're not bitter the way they were before. They're not money hungry like they were before. Obviously, there's a change in them, right? That's your opportunity to be like, yo, you remember how I was like this? Let me show you how to not be like that. Let me introduce you to somebody. And that's where they can now start to have a relationship with the Lord. And you can show them, look at how the Lord did all this stuff with me. Because I was a hot mess and I'm still a hot mess. But look at where he's taken me. And I'm believing that I'm going for more. But I'm casting this net. I want you to come with me. And that's how you grab those people and you make those disciples. And then you guys start to see that move and you start to elevate people because the wise are with the wise, right? And you're upgrading and you're leveling up and everything like that. And now it's like there are people that those people knew that you didn't know. That now they're at the reach of the person that you just mentored, the person that you discipled. And now they bring them in. And they're like, yo, you remember how I used to be money hungry, sex hungry? You remember how I used to be an alcoholic? You remember how I used to be a drug addict? God saved me from that. Let me show you how. Come on. And then it just continues to go around and around. You see what I'm saying? We continue to cast that net. The problem is that we've started to go in a different route. Maybe we didn't even seek, and by his grace, we've been able to do certain things. And then it's like, oh, I must have been blessed to go spend all my money. Oh, I must have been blessed to go pop all these bottles with my friends. Oh, I must have been blessed to buy this huge house or this, you talked about that studio apartment. It's just you living in the apartment, but you go and you rent a 2-bedroom. I mean, it's nice that, that you bought a 2-bedroom so that the Holy Spirit can chill in 1 bedroom and you can use another one as the office. And then you got your own, because you're going to sleep in the living room or whatever your plan was. But let's be practical, right? Did you really need it? Are you really going to use it? Because a lot of us are living off of excess. We're not living off of what we needed. And that's why we're wasting more, right? Because we never stop to say, before I go and do what I want to do, let me find out how I got here. And now in prayer and in kind of looking, you're like, yo, God brought me here. Why did he bring me here? Right? It wasn't just for me to be blessed. What does he want me to do with where I'm at right now? And if you're doing education or a job or a new job or something like that, maybe if you ask God for the direction, he goes, I brought you there because there's a few people down here that I want you to mentor. Let's bring them in. Let's show them the way, right? Or if it's with the music, it's for you to be like, wow, the Lord brought me into this music. And instead of me spending on the new Bentley and another, and a Lambo and the $3 billion house or whatever, it's like, why am I doing this? Oh, it's to make a change. Let me get some of these people and bring them up so we can make a change musically. We talked about earlier, like how Migos made a shift in music, right? I remember a name that a lot of you guys don't want to hear right now because a lot of people think that he's crazy, and that's a topic for another day, right? But I remember when what was that?
He's not.
I know that's like I said, that's a topic for another day.
I'm not even gonna say the name, but he's not.
But when that person, who for today I'm going to say he who remains nameless, right? He's not the one that hangs out in the East, right? That dude, when he came in, started to bring in a group of musicians and rappers and R&B artists who changed the game, and it was more intellectual, right? Because he himself said he wasn't rapping about knives and guns. He was rapping with, about intellectual things. And that brought forth a whole generation of artists who were now rapping more intellectually for a long period of time. After we went from party rap to that, into like intellectual rap. You know what I'm saying? Into intellectual hip hop. That was somebody who took and then discipled others. And there was a shift. There it was musically. God has given you blessings, and what you got to do is you really got to take time to connect with him. Really, honestly. And you got to ask, why have I been given this? What do you want me to do with this? And he's already given the answer. He gave me the answer this week, which is a direction he wants to take his people. Why have I given you this? If you want to know why, seek what I want to do. Look at what it is that I want to do with what I'm giving you. And you're like, oh, it's ultimately about bringing people to you. How can I use what you've given me, where you've placed me, what I'm doing to bring more people to you? We got to start that circle, because if we start that circle, that wise is going to be with the wise. We're not going to be foolish anymore, because his wisdom at its worst, at what seems foolish, is wiser than the wisest person. You see what I'm saying? And we have the capability to learn from that. Be with the wise. And we're going to start a shift, because we got to start a shift in our communities, bro. There's a lot of people dying because they have a lack of knowledge. We have to have a shift in the communities, in the workplaces, in our own families. There's a lot of families that are, there's a lot of fools in the family. There's a lot of fools in the family, and I'm not calling people dumb. I'm just saying there's foolishness. And I think a lot of you guys can relate to that. You know what I'm saying? There's a shift that needs to happen, and we need to seek what he wants to do, what he's trying to do. And we have a sense of direction. And that's what's going to cause the shift that we're looking for. The answers are there. We're wondering, how can we stop this violence? How can we stop going the wrong ways? How can we change our families? How can we change our friends? How can we change all these different things? The direction is there. But for that to happen, you need to humble yourself and say, it's not about what I want to do. It's what he wants to do through me, through all of us. And that's going to ultimately still give you the benefit, because you get blessed in that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just the way it works. So I would just want to motivate you guys. Find that time to look at, number one, the blessings that you've been blessed with. Even if it looks like you're in a bad situation, believe me, if you look, you're going to be like, yo, I've been blessed in this and this and that, though. Like, I could be in ruins, but I have peace. I can be terrible in all these different things, but I got my health. You know what I'm saying? Or I got a place to sleep where a lot of people don't. You know what I'm saying? Or somehow I have a job where a lot of people are losing their jobs. You can look at a lot of different things and you can find the blessing in that. And in finding the blessing in that, you'll be like, okay, now what do you want me to do with it? Believe me, he will give you direction, but it's going to be to attract other people that are unreachable by others. They're going to be reached by you. And that's how you start a culture shift. We've been tasked with that, bro. A shift in culture. We've been definitely tasked with that. Which is why I believe that it's important to share that today, because the very first platform that he's given us for that culture shift is with you that are connected tonight. And you guys have the culture shift for your workplace, for your families, for your friends, for your people in your school, for people that you take to your kids, little league basketball, little league baseball games, or your kids' soccer games, or your girls' ballet practice, or your girls' swimming. These are people that you can talk to and you can reach that others don't have that capability. So we got to make the best, all of us, of what we've been given, because it's not for no reason. It's not in vain. It's not for you to waste it away. It's for you to do something with it. So I hope this blesses with a direction, and ultimately down the road blesses you with things that you'll start to see that are just blessings in your life. And that's how we're going to be blessings on blessings on blessings, in that obedience.
Major, amen, man. Amen. And like we always mention, that's what this platform is all about, is helping you heal. We're eventually going to help others break those generational curses, make those changes. That way they can make the change in their life and change other people's lives in and out of their family. And that's the whole point, is just to focus on well-being. Because remember, I've always mentioned, mental health is very important. Health in general is very important. If you're not healthy overall, all that you have or that you're going for won't matter. So you have to be right in the mind, as I mentioned 100 times last week, right in the mind and in your heart. You move right, you'll do right. And that's the best way to do.
And here's the thing on top of that, little bro. One thing I forgot to mention in that was when I mentioned earlier about, the potential that we all can backslide. The beauty of that is that when you've done what I just talked about, the direction that the Lord was giving me, right? The beauty of it is that you start to build up a support system. Because when you start backsliding, right there, you're going to have those people that can catch you. They can say, hey, I'm noticing. Let's push you back. And you'll be like, wow, I'm blessed that these people are now showing me when I'm backsliding. And we all do that with each other. To be like, yo, I'm seeing that you're backsliding on your finances. I'm seeing that you're backsliding on your work ethic. I'm seeing that you're backsliding on your alcohol or your drugs. I'm seeing that you're backsliding in terms of your ministry, or how you should work with your family, or how you should be with others in the workplace, or how you should be at school, and the treatment of people. In all these different areas, somebody can be like, yo, you're backsliding a little bit. Let's get you back on, and you can be like, yo, good looking out, because I didn't even catch myself. And I'm telling you, bro, it's a thing of beauty.
It's major. I want to go ahead and read Jael's comment there, which is major. Super happy for. Last week, I was transparent about my finances, and yes, which we really appreciate that. We really appreciate when Jael gets on, man. It's just the way she expresses herself, the way she puts her life out there, how transparent she is. It's just a major blessing itself, to be honest. And I'm sure there's many others who watch and listen to her that appreciate her. God blessed me with a beautiful office for free. I fasted, prayed, and didn't let the enemy steal my joy. Now I can bless more families. Major.
If I could add, bro, I got to see the pictures of the office
Nice.
And it was like, when she originally shared with me that she had gotten this office for free, or that somebody was allowing her to use an office for free. Immediately, you were thinking, and this is a human thinking because we should have known as children of God that there was going to be more, right? Uh, in my human thinking, I was like, oh, okay. And I'm thinking like small little office, like you walk into a building. I'm not saying that it looks suspect, but it's a decent building, but nothing too crazy, nothing, nothing crazy, right? And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden she puts up these pictures and I'm like, this is legit. Like,
Nice.
you got a waiting area that looks legit.
Nice.
You got an office space that looks legit. It's like everything is like, how is this? I mean, how is this free? Much less under like $1,000 a month. I'm
It's
like,
who she is and what she's been doing, man.
and I'm like, what? This is insane. So it was like, well, it gives her an opportunity for what the Lord is doing through the business and ministry that He has given her to, a lot of times we talk about like appearances is a big thing, right? If you market something, that could be a trash product, but the marketing is amazing. Most people don't pay attention to the trash product. They're like, the marketing is amazing, and they go to it in droves, you know?
Hmm.
Um, and it's like, wow, here she is doing something great, helping a lot of different children and everything like that. And it's like, now she has a space where the people that needed to see something visual and be attracted to something visual will be gravitating to it because it'd be like, oh, this is a very nice space for my child, or whenever we got to be here or whatever. And it's just, I'm telling you, bro, it's just amazing to
That's
see the
major.
blessings that God puts out there. And the thing is that she's not the only one. We're not exempt from that. You know what I'm saying? We're not exempt from that. But what I can say from knowing her journey, I see her, she's saying, God is good. This was all Him. I'm so thankful. This is all because of obedience. Because I know I've had conversations with her about when she took a bold step of faith, first and foremost, to leave the job she was at to do this full time. That was a step of faith. When the Lord made it crazy to be like, drop your tuition to the amount that she's charging, that was a step of faith, because it's like, that's a scary number, like that's incredibly low. And it was like, but it was what the Lord was giving her. And it was like obedience to go for the amount, not worry about what the amount was, but be obedient to what the Lord wanted to do. And we've seen kids that have been blessed by that because it was something that was affordable. And now here comes the Lord and is like, I got office space for free for you, and dope office space on top of that because of your obedience. This is why
That's major.
when I mentioned earlier, when he told me that the direction that we needed to go into was to seek what He wanted to do. And seeking what He wants to do means putting myself aside, my pride aside, my want asides, and to seek the kingdom first. Because the word says, the promise of, if I seek the kingdom first, everything else is going to be added to me. You know what I'm saying? This is starting to be an example of my obedience in what she did, to seek first what He wanted to do, seek first what His kingdom wanted to do, and Him now starting to add. None of us are exempt from that. There is not anything special about her other than the fact that steps of faith. Be obedient with the steps of faith that I'm taking. Some of y'all have received the message this evening, or have received the message for the last 49 weeks, and you know that the Lord is calling you to go in a certain direction.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I can tell you from experience, to do that is scary a lot of times. Because to have faith, you need, most of the time it needs to be something where it's like, it's not official. It's not clear that you're going to be successful going that direction visibly in a human perspective, So you got to put your pride aside, put your fear aside, and say, I don't think that it could be very good for me over there. And I've got something assured over here sometimes, but I'm going to go take a step in faith, even though I don't see it, right? But I'm going to go towards what was promised. And that's not only faith, but that's obedience. They go hand in hand. And when you put faith and obedience together, you might not see the results right away, but something powerful happens there. Something very, very powerful happens there. And that's what I know happened with her. And I'm telling you guys tonight because tonight the Lord is being very official with, are you tired of seeing what's around you? Are you tired of hearing about the violence? Are you tired of hearing about the financial issues? Are you tired of hearing of the illnesses? Are you tired of hearing about the families being broken? Are you tired of hearing about family arguments? Are you tired about friends bickering? Are you tired about bad workplaces? Are you tired about, your own situation with, with whatever you're dealing with? And we can go on and on and on and on and on down the list, right? He wants you to seek him first and see what he wants to do about that, or what he wants to do with anything. And it's all going to be added, and it's all going to be okay. And that's a step of faith for you to say, I'm going to put myself not first, but I'm putting myself down the list. Not in terms of like put everybody ahead of you, but put yourself down the list and put the Lord's needs in front of yours, or his wants of what he wants to do. And I'm telling you, something powerful is going to happen. And it's not just for you. It's to bring everybody else around you into it. So I just hope that from what you guys heard in terms of her testimony, where it's like, I got this free office space.
Major.
After what she put out there last week, that y'all can look at it and be like, what is it that I need? What is it? Number one, what have I been called to do? What has he been asking me for? What is it that I feel he's put into my heart? What are my needs? What do I want to do for others? What does he want to do for others? Like, you just let the ball roll and let him show you. And when he shows you, take steps of faith, no matter how scary it is. In her case, I'm sure it was scary because it's like, I'm leaving a salary, I'm lowering an amount, I'm doing a lot of different things that are like, what? And it's like, now somebody's starting to see the fruits of obedience, and you can too. I'm expecting, bro. We were obedient to launch this platform. Like you said in the very beginning, you're a kind of person that plans things out. I do the same. I don't throw myself into things like that. And we threw ourselves into this with, we have a direction and we need to go. And we need to rely on the fact that we're not ready ourselves, but he's going to fill in the blanks. So there's more to come. There's more to come. Who knows? Y'all might hear some about it December 1st.
Amen. Yep. Amen.
Maybe.
Amen. Amen. So I hope everyone did receive today for episode 49. Episode 49. And just a reminder, we are on every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast.
West Coast.
Just want to give a few, if there's anyone that wants to go ahead and join, if there's anyone that wants to drop an anonymous question or statement on the bottom right corner, bubble with the question mark. Anything you want to say in the comments. Once again, thank you for all who are watching on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Really appreciate the time that you take to watch us. Appreciate those who do share our content. Remember, you do have the option to share our content via DM. You are able to send it over via text message now, I believe. Thank you for those who do comment, both on YouTube, Instagram, those who take the time to send the message and are thankful for what we're doing. See if I missed any comments here while we wait. Uh, God is good. This was all Him. I'm so thankful. Definitely, Jael. Amen. Super happy for you. That is amazing. Um, Thank you both, Jael, again. Thank you both for ministering to us and encouraging us. No problem, Jael. It is our pleasure, but thank you for always joining us. Thank you for always commenting, engaging, both on the live when you give your testimonies, and for being transparent. For always putting the good and the bad out.
Yep.
Really appreciate that. So I think it's safe to wrap up. Big bro, it's safe to wrap up. Don't forget, we will be back on next Thursday. Next Thursday for episode 50. Episode 50 next Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast. Episode
50 is
50.
a big number.
Yep. I will be putting, once again, the notification. The scheduled live will be on my profile. The scheduled live will be on the profile. You have the option to click on the remind me. You'll get notified 2 days before the live takes place, the day before, and the day of. So look out for that. We will see you next week, Thursday. Don't miss out. Once again, I appreciate everyone who's watching us. Appreciate everyone who is commenting in the chat. And we will see you next week, Thursday. Don't miss out for episode 50. Have a great night. And don't forget, patience is a virtue and faith is the substance. Apply that to any situation you may be in. Apply it daily to daily affirmation, whatever you're going through mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially. Just remind yourself, it's very easy. Patience is a virtue and faith is the substance.
Is the substance.
Have a good night, everyone. See you all next week.